welcome to Will I Vike It. I'm with my special guest today, which is Andrew Stevens from the Ancient Technology Centre. And the aim of today is we're going to sample some of the drinks from my book, Eat Like A Halfling, and see where it takes us. So Andy, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a bit about what you do at the ATC.
So at the Ancient Technology Centre, we're an outdoor education centre in Dorset, in Cranbourne. And we mainly work with school groups, teaching history focused on sort of Stone Age up to sort of end of the Viking period. And they don't just come here and learn for us talking to them or reading or writing things. They do. They try their hand at blacksmithing, archery, friction firelighting, rigid heddle weaving, felt making, all sorts of things. And but we work with other groups as well. We host weddings here. We work with young adults with learning needs, all sorts of things in that sort of historical setting and in wonderful buildings like this longhouse.
Nice. Right, shall we sample the first of our drinks, because we've got a few to get through?
Absolutely.
So I think we'll start off. We'll start off with this one, which is a parsnip. Parsnip wine. Have you tried it?
Start us off gently, yeah?
So actually, this is one of my favourite homebrews. I've been making it for years, but we'll see what you think.
Okay, pour on.
So
that's a good win, I think.
Now you don't have to drink all these at the same time, but if you like, we can top you up.
One big dirty pint, yeah?
So,
Cheers.
cheers.
I'm surprised by how not horrible that is. No, that's actually I'm not. Yeah, it's. I've had parsnip wine once, and if you're watching and you know who you are, who made it for me and gave it to me, I'm sorry, but it wasn't as nice as this. So that's surprisingly good.
This one is probably about 2 years old now, so
okay. I
it's
was
had a
going to
good
ask
chance to mature. Yeah, you can drink it quicker, but yeah, it does benefit from age. And I've just realised I've got cobwebs in my cup.
Well, that's flavour, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah, a few spiders, you know.
That's it. So is that just parsnip, or is that anything else in there?
Yeah, it's parsnips, boiled parsnips, sugar, yeast. It's been a while since I've made it now. You're testing me. I think there's some raisins in there as well.
Okay, just bring that sweetness up a little bit of extra sugar for the brew, yeah?
Yeah. I will post all the recipes up on my website when I'm done.
Fantastic. I could actually drink more of that.
I wouldn't, we've got a few.
Yeah, this is true. Maybe I'll leave it for later.
So I'm not sure how long this is going to take, but we'll just go with it.
I think so. It's, I've finished mine already.
Sorry. Right, so next up, we've got some elderberry and blackberry. Now this is younger than I'd normally drink it. This one was actually made this year.
Okay.
So it's only a few months old. Ideally I'd wait until next year, but needs must.
So is this stuff you've foraged yourself, or is it something?
It is, they're foraged blackberries and elderberries.
That smells, I mean, that was good, that last one. This smells more what you call wine-like, I guess.
I think this is probably the closest you're going to get to a homebrew that tastes like a real wine.
Okay.
It's probably one of the best country wines, if you like. It's actually the first time I've tasted it this year as well.
It's good. It's got that sharpness that I guess a young sort of wine. I'd sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't, but it's got that kind of sharpness you'd expect from sort of something that's been sort of quite recently brewed. I think it hasn't.
You could probably do with a bit longer, but you kind of get the idea of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's also a good one at Christmas. Stick it in a pot with some honey and some cinnamon, nutmeg, that kind of thing.
Heat it up.
Roll it up.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
We've got a fire over there, could see something later.
So the last of the wines for this one, we've got a ginger wine.
Nice.
This one I used to infuse with brandy, and I've started infusing it with Austrian rum. 60% proof.
I was going to say, just saying Austrian rum made it sound strong, but you know.
It's, I suppose, not particularly halfling to be using Austrian rum, but there you go. There's not an awful lot in here, it's just a capful, so don't worry, it's not going to
Fair enough.
knock your socks off too much. But this is another favourite of ours. It's another good one that's nice in the winter, warmed up by the fire.
It's got a lovely smell to it, that one.
So this was probably, I think I brewed this at the beginning of the year, and then the rum was added when I bottled it.
That is really good.
Don't tell us too much about your ranking yet. Save that
Fair
for the
enough.
end. So one of the other reasons I wanted to chat to you today was about the film that you're making.
Yes. Fog on the Barrow
The
Downs.
Fog on the Barrow Downs. So tell us a bit about it, and how did you get involved?
So, I've always been a fan of fantasy and Middle Earth, in particular, and I saw a advert in my archery club. Now, I used to live in Hertfordshire, and I still am heavily involved with an archery club there. And someone in our WhatsApp group put up a message saying there's someone making a film looking for archers. So I clicked on the link, and it was the director and writer of Fog on the Barrow Downs, Patrick.
This is Patrick. Say hi, Patrick.
Hi. Oh yes, Patrick.
And yes, he was looking for archers for a battle scene, and I thought that's fantastic, and I want to get involved. It got rained off in the end, but it did give me a chance to meet up with him for a drink.
Yeah.
And he showed me some of the scripts and the footage. I showed him this place, and the connection was made basically. And we decided to let him film down here for a bit.
Yeah.
At the Ancient Technology Centre.
How long ago was that?
That was at the end of 2019. Something happened in 2020 that made us stop filming everything for a while.
It shall not be mentioned.
Shall not be known. But yes, so I.
So relatively recently.
Relatively.
Take out the COVID years.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
considering it's a project Patrick's been doing since he was at uni years ago,
Yeah.
it is relatively recently.
Okay.
But yes, so I came on board sort of as an extra basically at first, and then after a few drinks when we were sleeping in here one night, I got up and started storytelling in hopes of getting some lines, and I ended up getting one of the main roles and ended up writing the script with him. So.
I think you do some directing now as well.
I do, yeah. I'm on the
Yeah.
camera tomorrow, so yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
that's it.
do you remember how I got involved with your film?
Now, I know that I got you down here at first to cater for our Apple weekend, or was it Dark Ages weekend?
So it wasn't catering, but I was doing a food display.
Not catering, yes, a food
Anglo-Saxon and
display,
Viking
yes.
Age food display.
Yeah.
And I can remember particularly walking past the longhouse. You were down over by the Iron Age buildings at the end,
Yes.
walking towards me, and you went, and I'd never met you at this point, might I add.
Oh, I know what happens now, yeah.
You look like a dwarf. Do you want to be in my film?
I said that just like that, didn't I? Yes.
Pretty much. And here we are.
A halfling today, though.
Halfling today, yeah. So then obviously that led on to you doing some feasting scenes, I think, when I first came down.
Yes, which you were a massive help with.
A little. Yeah, so I did some of the food for that, which is what led to the Eat Like A Halfling cookbook. So basically you've got Andy to blame for my cookbook.
To thank, I'm sure. But
So what are you thinking of the ginger?
I really like that. That's
Yeah.
It's more mellow than I thought something with 60% proof rum would be. But just a thimbleful, as you said. But that's a really nice taste, actually. That's every time I've tried to make ginger mead, it's gone very really got too much of the ginger kick. Really.
Yeah, they can come out quite dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find the wine's a bit easier to get the balance right.
But this is a really good one.
So again, I will post all the recipes up on the website, or go to Amazon and buy Eat Like A Halfling.
Do it. It's my fault, apparently.
Are you on commission?
That's what I'm angling for. You know?
I won't rank them myself, but that is a favourite.
Yeah.
I like them all, to be honest. I mean, most of these I've been making for years. It's not new stuff.
So what got you into it?
Home brewing,
Yeah.
going back a ways now, but I think it was probably River Cottage
Nice. Mine was just
originally. Yeah.
that which shall not be named happened, and I got bored at home. So so how long ago was that?
Probably, it's got to be close to 20 years ago. So most of my adult life, essentially, I've been dabbling with homebrew. They were originally horrible, as I think most people's are. You often get that thing with meads where they get that marmite taste, where the yeast is stressed. You get all of those sort of things, and dry, and usually they were still fermenting when I was drinking them, and not good. But a few years later, I think they've improved a bit.
My first bottle, I was going to say, it doesn't taste like something you've just started doing, so that's something. Yeah, I think my first one was in a 2 litre lemonade bottle with a little bit of bread yeast and some honey and water with a balloon on the top with a pinprick in it.
Yeah, been there. We used to live in a place where there was a shelf on the stairs, and funnily enough, the elderberry was sat on the shelf on the stairs. An amateur mistake. It was in the demijohn too soon. It overflowed, all down the wall, over the carpet.
Wow.
Everywhere. Nice red elderberry wine everywhere.
Nice. I think I've only really brewed mead myself. I mean, what's your favourite thing to brew? What's out of all of these to brew rather than, I suppose it's tied up in the taste, but...
It is mostly tied up in the taste, really, yeah. I don't know, variety is the spice of life, so I like to do a lot of different things. I do beers as well. Unfortunately, we haven't got any today. I didn't have any ready to go, but...
next time, season 2.
Season 2. I'm breaking it into seasons now. Favourite though. I don't know. I mean, the brewing process is quite similar across the board. So once you can do it with one, you can transfer the skills. Whereas what we're going to move on to next, these are more infusions. So probably a bit easier for a beginner to do because you're not actually fermenting anything.
And have you got that in the book as well?
All of these are in the book, which makes it sound like a very alcohol-heavy book, and it's not. There are other recipes in there, pies and puddings and breads and jams and everything you can expect to find in an indulgent pantry.
I'll just have to work through the whole lot and make pairing notes for the food and the drink,
That's not a bad idea. I never thought about pairing them. That's a good one.
That is really good.
So these are in no particular order.
Okay, so we're not working through the order of the book.
No, I'd have to get the book to check the order they're in. If they come out in the order they're in the book, that's a miracle.
Really fresh. Well, I've got one up in the office, so
Okay, you ready for another?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
What have we got next?
Feeling it yet?
Warm. I'm warm. I'm going to put it down to the fire, at least, pretend it's the fire.
I've warmed up a bit, I must say. It's quite cold in here. You can probably see we can... It's pretty chilly.
Go to the pipe.
So this one looks like I've already been drinking it. I haven't. I bottled it today. This is an apricot brandy. The idea for this one actually came from reading a book called The Farseer Trilogy.
Oh, yes.
About the assassin, the boy that trains to be the assassin. And in that they drink apricot brandy. And I'd never tried it before, so this was kind of my version of that. And it landed in the Halfling book. It's the fantasy world still. It's another nice one. So, yeah, we haven't been drinking this one. So I want a brandy. Didn't give you a lot there. Do you want to splash more?
Tiny bit more hyper. I was going to say, I appreciate you not putting too much in there.
We've got a few to get through, so we're taking it relatively easy. What's your tipple of choice normally?
Oh, it might become this. That's really good.
They must be getting better because every time they're, this
that's the audio front of it. I'll wait to get up there. But
tipple of choice.
That could be it. Tipple of choice usually. I've kind of recently gotten over my craft lager stage, which thankfully. To be honest, I sound like a cliche. A lot of the time it's mead if I can. But I think usually it's mead or I've sort of gotten back into real ales actually, like a nice IPA.
Yeah.
But what about yourself?
Well, I make a good pumpkin beer, which again sounds a bit odd.
No, I can see that.
But it's a nice dark brew. Around Halloween time, we usually get it brewed up. Homegrown pumpkins, homegrown hops.
Nice.
And that's a pretty decent brew. But like yourself, I mean, mead it goes down well, doesn't it?
It really does, doesn't it? But you couldn't drink too much of it. You know, well, I mean, you can. That's the trouble, I guess, isn't it? In the best possible way, that's kind of a little bit syrupy almost, that, isn't it?
It is. So this has got honey in, so it's probably a bit more like your mead flavourings.
That's why I like it. You know,
This one is just apricot, so I couldn't get fresh. So I've actually used dried for this. Honey and brandy, and that's it. This is actually, I think, 2 weeks old. So if you want a quick brew, this one's one to go for because it doesn't need to age or mature or anything. You can just get on with it.
I know what I'm doing next week. I think. Give me the break.
I'd imagine an apricot mead would be good. I've never had an apricot one. Just thinking the honey, the apricot that's in this, and actually, there's my next one.
So what's the weirdest drink you've made? What you'd call the weirdest?
Okay, I'm going to go with worst. So, celery wine.
Celery wine.
There comes a point if you experiment with homebrew and you grow your own veg and you've got too much celery, you end up brewing celery wine. There's not much I don't think I've brewed over the years, and celery wine, it tastes like it sounds. So it's fine and you can use it in cooking, but for a drink that you're going to sit down with, no, it's not good.
I honestly just did an involuntary shudder. That sounds grim.
It tastes fine. If you like celery, it's fine, but it just tastes like alcoholic celery. So if you want it for, dressing a salad or something, then great. But just to drink it, not for me.
Didn't make it into the book then.
No.
Have you tried mushroom wine?
No.
That's a thing. I can't personally recommend it as much, but it's a thing.
It's a thing. We're going to have to look into that one.
Yeah.
Although we don't eat a lot of mushrooms.
I reckon dwarves eat a lot of mushrooms. Maybe we could have Eat Like a Dwarf.
Eat like a dwarf. See? Feeding me ideas again.
Working on that commission.
Right, so the next drink up, Andy. I'm going to keep using this. This is another of my favourites.
I'm glad all your favourites made it in there, you know.
They're all the best. There's nothing bad in this. So this one is a blackberry whiskey.
I like both of those words.
I've had some abuse on TikTok for this one.
On TikTok? You got bullied on TikTok?
Gone semi-viral on TikTok with nearly 100k views of a very short video I made that was only, you know what it's like. You spend hours making something and you do one that takes you 2 minutes and that's the popular thing. But I get a lot of abuse of, that's not whiskey. Comes up so often. That's all they write, that's not whiskey.
There was a TikTok community who knew so much about whiskey, but...
Apparently they do. Sorry, TikTok. I went a bit long on my measure there.
I was going to say, it's a generous... Oh, go on then, go on.
Go on. This is a good one.
We're only filming tomorrow, it's okay.
You're already filming tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
So yes, this one is sugar, blackberries, whiskey. Sometimes I use Scotch, sometimes the old American,
Like, bourbon.
Bourbon, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you for that one.
I reckon it's something to do with the wines we've had.
I was going to say the corny whiskies.
The corny whiskies.
They're not going to like that, are they? They taste corny.
Corn whiskey sounds very halfling, I think, you know.
We've had nights where we've opened a bottle of this and it's gone.
That is very drinkable. What percentage does this come out at?
I mean, it's still whiskey.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't tell you the percentage.
That's frighteningly drinkable.
So that one takes a bit longer to make than the brandy.
Yeah.
This one was started August.
That's still a pretty short, you know, if you've got a bit of patience, that's still a pretty short.
Ideally, you wait a year before you drink it, but who lives in an ideal world?
I was going to say.
So your film, Fog on the Barrow Down,
Yes.
where does the title come from?
So it's a chapter in the book, one of the best in my mind, especially.
Which book is that?
That is Fellowship of the Ring.
Just for those that don't know.
Yes, you know now. Yes, that's a chapter in Fellowship of the Ring, which finds the halflings in the Barrow Downs, this sort of very, kind of not too dissimilar from the southwest in terms of landscape, you know, lots of mounds, lots of barrows, standing stones.
Creepy places.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I won't spoil it because you're all going to go and read it, I hope, if you haven't already.
Spoilers? How old is that book?
You never know.
Oh.
But so yes, and no version has done it properly, or if at all. You know, I don't think any of the film versions, the cartoons, or anything have actually covered, because it's quite a hard story to tell. It feels kind of separate in a way from the main story, but it's a really cool bit. It's the closest to horror you've got in that whole book, or that whole series of books. And so Patrick, oddly enough, Patrick wanted to originally make a film version of that part of the book, and then decided that he didn't want to tell the story of Frodo and the other hobbits. He wanted to tell the story of just the Barrow Downs itself.
Right, okay.
And so he cooked up an idea, and then we met, and
Lived happily ever after.
lived happily ever after. We'll see, it's early days. Yes, weirdly enough, I was trying to write a horror story set in the Barrow Downs, set in Middle Earth at the same time.
Okay.
Different to the one we're telling, we went with his version, but
I kind of like the idea of a horror film.
my initial idea was a bit more horror. Without giving too much away, at the moment we're splitting Fog on the Barrow Downs into 3 different chapters.
Classic move.
Obviously got to be done, but we may end up releasing it as 3 series on YouTube. So it might definitely sort of lean towards a horror turn towards the end of the 3rd film of the 3rd series. Once our characters meet I won't give too much away, but once they end up at the Barrow Downs.
Nice, I look forward to it.
But yeah, so there's a lot that happens before then. It's an adventure story. We try to weave in as many Tolkienisms as possible, as much influence from Tolkien's Middle Earth as possible, while telling our own story with original characters.
So what kind of character do you play?
It's going to bite me for what I said to you, but I play a dwarf.
Ah.
I'm Regan the dwarf, as you probably know, based on the Regan from Norse mythology.
Yeah.
And yes, I am a scout. I'm a dwarven scout from the Iron Hills, and slightly in disgrace. So trying to sort of prove myself, redeem myself when I meet Penda, who Patrick plays, who is the film's main character and hero. So yes, I've had various beard lengths. I put on a fake beard at the moment. I did grow it for a little while during lockdown and got the right length, and then sort of got sick of it and got rid of it. Don't know if you've ever done that. You kept that sort of length the whole time.
This is almost it.
Oh really?
This is where it stops. I kind of trim it occasionally, but yeah.
Yeah, mine sort of stopped down there, just outside of sort of plaiting range, you know?
Yep.
Just disappointingly so.
Beard talk. So what are you thinking? We're 3 wines down, couple of spirits, ready to party?
I'm getting there, you know, I'm getting there. There's a few of those songs from Lord of the Rings I'm thinking, you know, might get sung later, you know. Sort of.
Arm in arm, dancing around the fire. We'll cut those bits out.
I'm behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's a favourite.
That's really good, that's really good. It's, again, a lot more drinkable than most whiskies, you know, that I've had before, so dangerously nice.
Yeah, so I know some people make it with a lot less sugar as well. So if you're trying to watch, you know, your sugar intake, some people will do that. And they are just as nice, but this is just how I do it.
I think when you're introducing that fruit, it is nice to have that sweetness as well. Like, you know, sort of, I mean, as you say, some people like it with more of a subtle hint, but if it's a fruity drink, I quite like being hit in the face with the fruit, you know.
The next one's going to get a bit more unusual for you.
Oh. Dare I ask? I need to finish this one first.
We'll just top it up.
Just mix it all in, see how
Just
it
a big
goes.
cocktail. I did offer at the beginning that Andy could just have a pint glass and we'd just pour them all in, but he said no.
It would be a progressively more interesting video, maybe. I don't know, you know.
It would be interesting to see whether the spirits settle at different levels, so as you drink, the flavour changes.
Yeah, and watch as the level gets lower, so do I. You know, just.
And so does my level of interview. Drinking in an interview is not a good idea. Professionalism.
Or it's the best idea.
Right, so this one, nice golden one here, is beech leaf noyu.
Wow.
So you take your young beech leaves in the spring, fill a container with them, and you top it up with sugar and gin. And you leave it to mature. So this was, as I say, done in the spring, so yeah, probably about, I would guess about April I made this.
Wow.
And it makes a great Christmas present. Don't tell anyone on my Christmas list.
So it's a 6-month brew then.
So similar to the blackberry whiskey, you just kind of leave it for a couple of months and then strain it off and then just let it mature. Most of these do get better with age.
Yeah.
Slight detour, but on the same kind of subject. I once tried to prove that mead doesn't get better with age. So I drank a mead that I'd kept for 2 years, side by side with the same brew that I'd just made. And I was adamant that I was going to drink this drink and it wouldn't be any better, and I could finally put it to bed. And I took one sip and went, oh, bollocks.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does. The flavour completely changed. But this was, I think, a meadowsweet mead, which I make quite a lot of. And after a while, it almost had like an almondy flavour to it. It was just a completely different brew.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So a friend of mine, Lex, who's involved with On The Barrow Downs, because I basically drag everyone I know into it now.
This is Lex. Say hi, Lex. Hi, Lex.
He made a batch of mead, one of his first batches, years back, that he called Crunk Juice, because it basically tasted like honey and vodka when it started, once it was drinkable. We drank it, and it lived up to its name. It was horribly drunk. Then fast forward about 6 years, I moved here. I get him down as an archery instructor, so I asked him to come and teach archery here and help us out. And he brought a bottle of it along on the same day, so around the fire, and he said, "This is the same stuff I made, completely different. It actually tasted really good, and it's been laid down for 6 years."
Wow.
So if you're watching this, Lex, well done.
Bring a bottle tomorrow.
Yes.
So yeah, this is a bit more of an unusual one, I guess.
I got wind of that as that's
You
interesting.
probably haven't done beech leaves before.
No, I've not. No.
So a bit more of the gin again.
I'm not a gin fan, but that is very palatable. That is very... So tell me again what's in that?
So young beech leaves, it needs to be the really young ones, the tiny little fledglings, if you like. Sugar and gin.
You know what, I'm going to be making that one. I think that's going to be... It's
a very seasonal one, so it's got to be done in the spring.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it's almost... I don't know what you call it, almondy? There's something...
There is a bit almondy, isn't it?
I don't know. And I wouldn't drink straight gin, so despite all the gins I'm producing. But the Noyu that's a good one.
I think, we've got more people here filming tomorrow. I think that's going to be the one that I'm guarding, maybe. I think that's going to be really popular.
So we'll move on from the beech leaf. So this one, I call this Forager's Rum Pot.
Forager's Rum Pot?
Yeah, so this one takes a bit longer to do. So what you need to do is start it at the beginning of the year. And it's basically a collection of any fruit that you forage, plus your alcohol, plus your sugar.
Were you talking about this one at Wareham by any chance? I can't remember
Possibly, it was a
Yeah.
while ago.
I
now.
think
I've done a
I
few
think I might
shows
have
since then, so I can't remember. So basically, what you do is you put a bit of fruit into a pot, you cover it with sugar, and then you add some rum. And every time that you want to top it up, you just add a bit more.
Nice.
But the actual aim for this one is for the fruit and not the alcohol.
Oh.
So the alcohol is just a byproduct, which we are going to drink it, but
Oh, you've got some.
I've got some fruit with us today. So in here, it's whatever I foraged this year. So there's some apples in there, there's some blackberries, we've got some black currants. To be honest, they're all the same colour now.
It's like looking very beetrootish, that.
It's a bit beetrootish, but yeah, I mean, if you want to try some.
Yeah, I'll try some.
So the idea is to eat that with ice cream or a pudding of some sort, or put it in a pie. So this comes back to the Austrian 60% proof rum.
Yes.
So that probably tastes more like rum than fruit at the moment.
Yep, definitely got the rum kick first. I'll try blackberry just to make sure, you know.
But you find that with a lot of these infusions, the alcohol goes into the fruit as much as the other way around. So whatever you're making, you don't throw away the fruit when you finish. You keep it, you make puddings with it. The apricot one is brilliant. You dip it in dark chocolate.
Wow.
Looks like a really fancy Christmas present.
That's that would make for a very fun trifle, I think, you know.
I thought you were going to say on your porridge in the morning.
Why not, you know, it helps you get through the day.
So yeah, so this is this year's rum pot, which I haven't tried. So we'll see. It's a big mix. So I think there was apples, blackberries, raspberries, blackcurrants. There might be some gooseberries in there. There's probably some elderberries.
Host of flavours.
It's one of those I can't remember. There's so many things have gone in. Whenever I've had a few bits of fruit, they've gone in. So we're back on the rum.
Back to it.
Round 2. 7 drinks down.
It's got a really fruity smell, actually. It's like alongside the rum, you can really get that
Actually,
sort
it smells quite like the blackberry whiskey.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've had it this year, so.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
It's like Ribena.
It is, isn't it?
So Andrew, did halflings have Ribena?
Only the stores, I think, you know. Maybe not the... I just made that up.
No.
But I think eventually they'd come to it, you know, maybe like late 3rd age, early 4th age. It's, you know, industrious hobbits, halflings.
So you were, when you were talking about fog, you were telling us that you've done a bit of directing, a bit of acting.
Yeah.
Patrick's doing the same.
Yes, he is directing, he's acting, he's writing with me as well. And he will say acting, he's playing the main character, so...
So who's doing the actual recording of
Robots.
robots?
No. Don't tell Andrew I said that. Andrew...
Is Andrew a robot?
No.
I've never
no.
seen him away from the ATCs.
This is true. His lead doesn't go that far. No, we've got this wonderful photographer called Andrew,
This is Andrew. Say hi, Andrew.
Hello.
who does a lot of photography here for our open days, our events. He does a lot of portraits for local reenactment groups here, and he's come on board as our main cameraman. And yeah, he's been a massive help. Phenomenal photographer, phenomenal cameraman. And yeah, we couldn't do it without him, really. So I regret calling him a robot already. Love you, Andrew.
So yeah, so Andrew's actually done some of the food photography, the portraits that are in the Eat Like A Halfling book. He did the front cover for me.
Absolutely.
I think you might have been lurking in the background.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those shady ranger types.
Yeah.
But yeah, I shoehorn myself in where I can. That's how I got on the film in the first place.
So we're on to the last brew.
Oh.
And this one is a classic. Slow gin.
Ah!
I'm sure you've had that before.
I have. I know that one. I understand that reference.
So slows, sugar, gin. That's all it is.
Fantastic.
Nice, simple one. Oh, that made a good sound.
That was a good pop.
So you've told us about your job at the ATC, you've told us about your filmmaking. What do you do for a hobby?
Well, there's a few hobbies. There's archery, there's a few bits and pieces, but my main one is actually a second job, really. It's storytelling. I run a storytelling company with Amy,
This is Amy. Say hi, Amy.
Hi.
who is my storytelling partner. We run a company called Tales from the Hart. And yes, we mainly storytell around Hertfordshire, which is hence the Tales from the Hart is H-A-R-T. And yeah, we mainly do sort of folklore, sort of tales from around Hertfordshire, around that area. But we sort of branched out. We do tales from the Fianna cycle. We do Beowulf, the Norse sagas, things like that. And yeah, it's sort of picked up in the last few years. We're getting a lot more bookings. We're storytelling everywhere from schools and village fetes to sort of massive open events and cathedrals and places like that. So with fire breathing occasionally as well.
So you're a fire breather as well.
I'm a fire breather, yeah. Some of these brews I think would go down quite well with that, you know.
You might help.
But yeah, although there was that one show we were at together where you were supposed to be cooking and I spilt some on myself there. That's what happens when you drink 8 drinks. But that's yeah, we were supposed to.
Wareham?
It was Wareham.
Wareham
Yeah.
Back in the summer, no one was allowed any fire.
Yeah.
So I couldn't cook.
And I couldn't fire breathe, so we made do, I think.
I think we got by. Yeah. So what are you thinking of the last one?
Very nice, very nice. It's smoother than I thought it would be. Most of my adult life sort of drinking, I always avoided gin. It always tasted like hairspray to me. And then I discovered slow gin. And I was like, okay, that's a bit better, but that's really nice. How long's that one been sitting there?
Only since about September.
Oh, okay.
So again, it's quite young. It is one again. Ideally, you'd age it for a year before you drink it, for the benefit of today.
Yeah.
We're going to drink it now. I mean, it's drinkable as it is.
Does that make it mellow out, or does it make
it? Does mellow over
Yeah.
time, yeah, a little bit. But it's basically, what was it, 50% fruit to gin,
Okay.
and then 50% of the fruit quantity in sugar. So it's still relatively sweet, but yeah, it's a nice one. Some people brew it without the sugar at all, so you just go completely with the slows.
Yeah, and just rely on that, the sugar and the slows.
But it's almost quaffable.
It is, yeah, dangerously so. What do you know? What percentage that came out as? Or?
I don't think there'd be an awful lot of difference from the original gin. It's it's a flavoured gin rather than.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably diluted a little bit, but
yeah, that's something that's gin strength. Yeah, that's very dangerously drinkable.
especially after 3 wines and.
Yeah, that's kind of a
whiskey,
desserty drink. That one. I'm
gin.
kind of glad we finished on that one. It feels like a desserty drink, you know.
I mean, you've still got to rank them yet.
Oh, I do, don't
We
I?
do, so we're going to do that. But I had a couple of just kind of for fun questions that I thought I'd ask you.
Oh, go on.
So the first one is, do you think you could survive in Middle Earth?
It depends where I was. I mean, if I was an elf, definitely, because, you know, you basically live forever unless you go and get killed in battle or die by an accident. Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, this question comes up quite a lot, actually, just around a campfire, talking after filming or something. I think if I was going to survive in Middle Earth, I think I'd rather be a hobbit, because, as we've established, you get some fantastic food as a halfling, and drinks as well. I've always thought the Rangers are the coolest, but unfortunately they probably live one of the most dangerous lives. So it depends who I was, definitely. But as a hobbit or an elf, you want to be a hobbit. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're going for here, right?
Yeah, definitely. The older I've got, like when I was younger, getting into Lord of the Rings, it was always about the Ranger. And as you get older, you're like, nah, I'm just a hobbit. Food and drink.
A friend of mine, she said, she explained it as who you've got a crush on. She was like, when you're younger, you've got a crush on Legolas, and then it's Aragorn, and then after a while it's Sam.
So do you think you would be quite happy and content living on a halfling's diet?
Now, unfortunately, I haven't quite, even though I'm, you know, not the tallest person or the slimmest person, I don't quite have the physique of a hobbit, and I'm not sure I could handle that many fried breakfasts. But I'd enjoy it while it lasted, put it that way.
It's a heart attack in the making.
It is,
isn't
it is, absolutely. It's, yeah, some days I admit I do skip 11sies.
Just some days.
Just some days.
Is there a particular food you think that maybe halflings wouldn't have had that you'd have missed?
Definitely Vindaloo. that I can't see at you know, them cooking up a curry in their hobbit holes. I can't see them. I think I'd miss sort of more worldly cuisine. I think you know the fact they got coffee is brilliant. You know, but you know, I would miss Indian food. I think.
I get that. There was a few recipes that I came up with that I had to pull, including things like chili chocolate brownie, which they're amazing, but just doesn't fit.
Maybe after the War of the Ring, when trade increases, although Aragorn does stop people going into the Shire, doesn't he? So, you know, maybe their diet would be getting more restricted. But, you know, you'd like to think maybe that trade would increase and you'd start seeing, you know, hobbit curry houses popping up.
It's a funny concept. So I'm going to bring back, we'll start with the wines.
Okay, let's do it.
We won't do it all as one, we'll do the wines. And you can rank the wines, makes it a bit easier. I've lost the cork. It's all good. So, you've got ginger wine, parsnip wine, and elderberry and blackberry. I don't know why I'm even spinning that one. I know that one already.
So it's a little bit evident there. So, I think for me, do you want best to worst or worst to best?
Worst to best, I guess.
Okay, I'm actually going to say, even though I want to say now, I enjoyed them all, but least favourite was actually this one.
Ooh, okay.
While I like it, I like an interesting drink, and that tasted the most winey in some ways, which kind of, so second was the parsnip one.
Put them in order.
You have actually, you know me. It was the parsnip one. For me, it was the second. Interesting bouquet. I'm going to put it that way, but it tasted surprisingly good, and it was definitely an interesting wine. But tops for me is I love ginger. You know, that was a really good one.
So more expensive wine is gooder.
It's gooder, yeah. Or is it older wine and it's gooder? Handily got the cork out already.
So then, in no particular order again, we've got the sloe gin. We've got the Forager's Rum Pop, Beech Leaf Noyu, Blackberry Whiskey, and Apricot Brandy. Worst to best, you're going to tell me that way, right?
No, this is a difficult one. This is a really difficult one for me. I really like them all. I just want to put that out there. These were all really good. For me, probably the least favourite was sloe gin. Again, nothing against it. It's just, you know, I do like a sloe gin, but
put them in order.
There you go. Second, I really like the syrupiness, but probably the apricot brandy. Then for me, it's now this one's a tricky one, but it's between, I think it's going to be the whiskey. You know, I made that up just then. Like, I made that decision just then. I really like the whiskey, very drinkable, but I found the Forager's Rum Pot a lot more interesting. So that's number 2, and number 1 is the Noyu.
Really?
That is a very unique taste, really refreshing, and I was surprised by it. And again, it's not something you get to drink every day as beech leaves, you know. So
it's the most unusual of the bunch, I guess.
I think that's what I'm going for, really. You know, it's I found that it was a surprisingly good taste, and I think that's what sort of won me over on that one. But it's these 3, especially these 2, it's a very close one between. But yeah, it's got to be the Noyus. That's the winner for me.
So as I said before, I'll put all the recipes on my website. But otherwise, you can buy Eat Like A Halfling if you want to spend some money. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
Where can people find you online?
So for the Ancient Technology Centre, you just need to Google Ancient Technology Centre and find us there, or on Facebook, the same thing. We are Tales from the Hart on Facebook and on Twitter. Tales Hart on Twitter, actually. And Fog on the Barrow Downs, just type that into Facebook or YouTube as well. We're hoping to have a new trailer out fairly soon.
I'll
Maybe by
put
the
some
time
links up in the description as well.
yeah, maybe by the time this comes out, we will have the trailer up. We'll see. But yes, there'll be more coming soon. Yeah, again, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Cheers.
Strong.
If you enjoyed the podcast or want to hear more, remember to like and subscribe and give me a rating. For recipes and ideas, visit my website saxonforager.co.uk. I also have 3 cookbooks available to buy on Amazon worldwide. These are Eat Like a Viking Volumes 1 and 2 and Eat Like a Halfling. Thanks for watching!